Welcome to 900 days of Minecraft hardcore in an ocean only world. If you guys are new here, I'll have a playlist linked down below to the entire ocean series. I definitely recommend checking it out because it's an amazing series. But for now in this video, we're going to be working on starting some giant builds, like massive projects. We're also going to be doing a ton of the advancements that we can be able to even do in this world. And guys, we're getting crazy close to 1,000 days in this world. So if you want to see this series get to 1,000 days, drop a like on this video right now to let me know that you guys want to see more of it. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video and you're new here, make sure you guys hit subscribe and turn on post notifications because I comment back at every single video release. All right, enough rambling. Here's 900 days. And on day 801, now that we're back on the world, I decided to go fly my way over to Mount Chickpea and say hi because everyone loves to see the ocean's true mascot. I don't know why you guys love this chicken so much, but I decided to fly him all the way back home because I'm going to need him for a later project. And after returning home and landing very safely to make sure that he wasn't going to hit a building or anything, I tied him up at the docks and began cleaning out all the auto farms, starting with the potato farm, that is, which again, it seems like one of the potato boys just still isn't working and I don't know why. And afterwards, I went over to the bee farm because I just always forget about this thing. It's hiding behind the chicken forest and yeah, I never see it. But there was a ton of honeycombs, so that's good. Oh, and then also the OP mob farm is, yeah, no, it's really OP. It's starting to fill up again. I got like 12 double chests and this thing's just filling up too fast. So I took out all the gunpowder to save for later. Day 802. Started off the day by swapping out one of the shears inside the bee farm for bottles, since I want to try to achieve all the advancements in this world that I can't even get, because there are some that are going to be completely impossible and I will not be able to get them at all. But for that, I was going to need a honey block. So in the meantime, I made my way over to Trader Tower to say hi to everyone, and then went up to the penthouse and started doing the great breeding. Just started tossing potatoes everywhere for everyone because I'm going to be doing a big expansion at Trader Tower and I'm going to need a whole lot more villagers for it. And I figured while waiting for all the villagers to do the deed, I might as well go through all the advancements and brainstorm which one I can actually do. Day 803 to 811. I began the long, tedious process of expanding Trader Tower. Basically, I wanted to create another floor full of traders, but to be able to do that, I was going to need to drop them all down, and which I figured the easiest way to do that, it would just be punch a hole in the ground and just push them into it. But some villagers didn't survive the fall. But after getting a bunch of villagers down, I started construction. It isn't until I found a librarian trying to sneak out, so I stuck him in a boat and I'm going to decide his fate later. Then I began the process of building out everybody's cubicles where they're going to be basically working for the rest of their lives. I had to make sure all the redstone was wired up properly so that I could be able to make all my villagers transform into zombies so that I could then get the best deals possible. But I definitely regret bringing villagers down first because they just kept making the process way more annoying and they just kept getting in some worried stupid village. And after a long building session, I got all the villagers trapped and set up with jobs, and now they're ready to be zombified. All I was gonna need was, well, an actual zombie. So in the meantime, while waiting for it to become nighttime, I went ahead and set up a rail system where I could be able to trap a zombie and ship him off to work. And yes, I slayed Larry the librarian. No workers of mine can ever escape Trader Tower. And now that it's nighttime, all I needed to do was wait for a zombie to spawn, which definitely took a lot longer than I expected. But the zombie I did catch actually had a sword already, which is actually gonna help with the zombie vacation. However, it did make it difficult for me to push him in the minecart because he hits like a truck. And it took almost all night just to be able to get him up there, but that's also because I kept making a lot of mistakes. But after making mistake after mistake and having to deal with him hitting me over and over and over, I eventually finally got him where I needed him to be. And so I gave him a name tag so he'll never despawn. And yes, I did name him Please Stop Hitting Me because, I mean, he just kept relentlessly hitting me and wouldn't cooperate with me all night long. And well, with the sun coming up on day 812, I started off by cleaning up the big mess I made trying to get the zombie up there. Afterwards, I dropped all my villagers down for everyone to get zombified. But with all my villagers getting zombified, that means I was going to need a ton of potions of weakening. So I pretty much just spent the day just cooking up in the kitchen. Afterwards, I went to go check on the villagers, and for the most part, yeah, they were all zombified. Well, one of them didn't survive. He got clapped a little too hard. And so I began healing all my villagers, but quickly I realized that with healing all these villagers multiple times to be able to get the good deals, I'm going to need an insane amount of gold. And so on day 813, figured I'd fly my way all the way up to the gold farm in the nether. So I could be able to AFK and just collect tons of gold. But man, this thing's it's getting really full actually with tons of swords. I really need to stop being lazy and hook up some furnaces. I'd be getting way more gold out of it too. Yeah, I'll make that a job for another day though. I pretty much just AFK'd and let tons of zombie piglins fall to their doom. I also got tons of XP, so I think it was a worthwhile trip. Day 814 to 835. I crafted up all the golden apples that I could, but the villagers still weren't cured from the first time I zombified them. So I figured in the meantime I should actually get started with some advancement hunting. So I made my way over to the bee farm so I could be able to check on the honey bottles from earlier, but there was only 3 honey bottles and I needed 4 to be able to make a honey block. But that's also when I noticed that bees are getting stuck behind the farm, which means it's slowing down production, which means it's causing me money. Not really, but it's slowing me down and I don't want it to. So I figured while waiting for them to be able to get that last honey bottle, I could be able to close off the top part of this thing so I don't got to worry about all my bees getting stuck back there anymore. And by the time I was done with all that, it was actually nighttime. And I also haven't slept in a couple days, so there's a lot of phantoms flying around. So I figured that I could be able to get 2 birds and 1 stone achievement. And to do that, I was going to need a crossbow, which luckily my Fletcher sells them. I figured the easiest method to get this advancement would be to just trap some phantoms inside of a boat so that, I mean, I could just perfectly line them up and shoot them both with a crossbow. So after getting them trapped, I made my way down to the enchantment room and enchanted the crossbow with piercing so I could be able to damage both of them at the same time. And then I looked them in their sad little eyes and I just let it rip, dude. I don't care about these things. I hate phantoms. But I had to do that like 4 times because apparently phantoms just have a lot of health and I don't know how these guys survive for so long. But it was actually worth it because I did get 2 crossbow achievements out of this in the end. After that, while it was still dark out, I figured I could also go for the sniper duel achievement and try to bust a cap and a skelly from 50 meters away. But I didn't even know if this was going to be possible because I don't know if my base is even that big really. And after a handful of attempts, I actually found the perfect spot. I stood on my beacon and shot a skelly all the way over near Trader Tower and got the achievement. And for the next advancement on the list, I figured I could finally get Sticky Situation. Now that I got that honey block that I've been waiting for, all I got to do is slide on this thing, which turned out to be a lot harder and more time consuming than I thought. Like seriously, I was covered in honey. I was grinding all up and down this block and I don't know why I couldn't get the achievement. I did the same thing over and over, but it eventually ended up just giving it to me. Next up, I decided to get the bullseye advancement. This one's actually pretty easy. You just got to hit a bullseye from 30 meters away, which I mean isn't really the easiest shot to make, especially because this advancement is a little bit buggy and doesn't always work even though you're shooting the bullseye. But it is easy because I got this awesome workaround for it. All you got to do is put a trapdoor on top of the target and string some redstone to it and just shoot 1,000,000 arrows into the top of the trapdoor. And then when you flick a lever 30 meters away and boom, there you go. You got your advancement and you even get your arrows back afterwards. Another pretty easy advancement I figured that I could be able to do while I was still in the overworld was charging a compass with a lodestone. So I crafted up a lodestone with some chiseled blocks and then I connected my compass to it so that I'm never going to be able to get lost at sea again. All right, well, that was an easy advancement. And since it was so easy, I figured that we could start doing a little bit more difficult ones. By that, I mean doing some in the nether. The next advancement on the list was going to be fully charging a respawn anchor in the nether, which I haven't really kept any crying obsidian in this world, so I started flying around hoping to find some inside of bastions. I was even trying to do trades with piglins to be able to get some. I feel like I get so much of this stuff and it's so common, but the one time I actually wanted, I couldn't find any. But after multiple bastions and tons of trades, I managed to scrap together the last bit that I was going to need from a ruined portal. And so I made my way back to the nether base, crafted up a respawn anchor and charged it all the way up. I mean, I don't even know. Does this thing work inside of hardcore? Should we test it out? I don't know. Comment down below. Let me know. Does this thing actually save you in hardcore mode? Next up, while we're in the nether, I figured that I could get the advancement. This boat has legs. Really quick since, I mean, there's tons of striders everywhere. All I got to do is craft up a mushroom on a stick, find myself a good boy, and then boom, got the advancement. But I did want my saddle back, so next on the agenda was possibly one of the hardest advancements to get for sure. I've only ever gotten this one other time and I hated it. I was gonna have to take a ghast into the overworld and then clap his ghostly cheeks. And what I learned from the last time I did this advancement was to definitely just make a giant portal so that they could fit their fat heads through it. I also decided to build the portal near a soul sand biome in hopes that maybe a ghast will spawn close by. But like I said, this is definitely by far one of the harder advancements I did. It took days and many attempts to try to reel in a big one. It was chaotic. I even had some close calls. There was just too many gas and they wouldn't cooperate with me. I went through tons of food, tons of fireworks, and a handful of fishing rods. But after a couple close calls, I did manage to finally bag a big one. I took him into the overworld. And so I went through the portal and I cranked back my bow. And then I deleted that thing from this world. And oh, look, we even got some friend. Oh my God, there's another ghast. This time I decided to stun on the ghast for scaring me. I used my Triton to get airborne. Then I did a downward swing on the ghast with my looting 3 sword. I felt like the true king of the ocean right there. That was pretty epic, I'm not gonna lie. And on day 836, since that advancement was a ton of work, I decided to take a break from advancements, and so I started off the day by getting a mending book for my bow, because apparently it still doesn't have one, and I noticed it's getting a little low. I figured while I'm buying this mending book, I'm already here, I might as well drop all the villagers down so that they can be zombified. But I also did notice that some of them are missing, so I don't know what's going on. Something might be wrong with the setup, because I think the zombies clapping a little too hard. After that, I added the mending book to my bow. Then I made my way into the nether, and I AFK'd for a while to make sure I got enough XP to be able to heal up all my tools and armor. Then I went down to go grab some gold out of the chest, and oh my gosh, it's just such a hot mess. This thing is just so disorganized. Remember I said that I was going to procrastinate having to fix this thing for a while? Well, I think I'm going to have to. It's finally time to fix the auto sorter and add some furnaces. And so on day 837, started off the day by cooking up a bunch of stone so I could be able to craft up a handful of blast furnaces because I want these swords smelting quick. But after crafting those up, I actually had to double check to make sure that I could even smelt down a sword in a blast furnace because I know you use it for ores, and I mean, it worked out in the end. It's fine. Afterwards, I needed to head down in the mines, but on my way, I actually noticed that Captain Llama's trying to escape his ship. Like, come on, buddy. This is your forever home. Just enjoy it. Then I made my way down into the mines so that I could be able to get tons of coal because, well, I'm actually running low on it at home, but also I'm going to need a lot of coal to be able to smelt down all these swords. But while down here mining for all this coal, I actually remembered that I still want to try to find a slime chunk because unfortunately I can't get slimes in this world unless it's in a slime chunk. So I pretty much just mined all the way through day 838 as well, but gosh, it's such a hassle mining down here. There's so many mobs. But honestly, we made a pretty big dent. Still no slime chunk, but we did make some good progress. And something about leaving all the ores exposed like this, just, I don't know, it looks so cool to me. But finally on days 839 to 849, yeah, this is a 10-day journey, but we got it done. I made my way back into the nether to be able to fix this farm finally. I quickly just set up some blast furnaces so that they could be able to smelt down all the swords, but I was hoping that maybe if like a sword was in the furnace, maybe it'll grab another sword, but that's kind of not how it works. And then a bunch of rotten flesh just kept going in the furnace, so I did have to fix the auto sorter, unfortunately. And with a ton of trial and error, I couldn't figure out what was going on with this auto sorter. I mean, I'm not an auto sorter professional. I honestly thought that maybe it's because we're in the nether and the nether's somehow playing a factor, but I realized actually, and I found out that I was placing some of the hoppers wrong and that the hoppers were supposed to be going into the comparators, but I had them facing sideways. But after getting that fixed, it was working perfectly, and all I had to do was reorganize an auto sorter. But after cleaning up all the chests, I figured the best way to fully test this thing out and make sure that it is fully functional is to actually AFK some more. So on day 850, I just pretty much AFK'd majority of the day, and it turns out it's working perfectly. Man, my brain's feeling real swollen for fixing such a simple problem that I caused. And on day 851, we're back in the overworld. I started off the day by curing all my villagers that I dropped down below a few days ago, and I totally forgot about them. But either way, they're getting cured now. Afterwards, I crafted up a ton of fireworks because it's time to go on a little bit of an adventure. In the last 100 days, we found some islands not too far away from Mount Chickpea, and I was going to need a ton of sand because we're starting a new project. And that project's going to be to completely drain out an ocean monument. Now, recently I did do this in my OP hardcore world, and due to high demand, I figured that I might as well do it in the ocean world too. Everyone's been saying for the longest time that I need to do this in the ocean world. And honestly, I do agree it is the ocean world, and I do need an ocean monument. So after viciously shoveling tons of sand, it was time to begin this project. And luckily, there is an ocean monument not too far away from the base, and I'm pretty sure I already did slay all the elder guard. Okay, apparently I didn't. Hold on, we'll be back tomorrow. And on day 853, now that I got some underwater breathing potions, it's time to swim through this thing to get the last Elder Guardian. Man, I hate these things. These things are like mazes. I'm getting lost. I thought I was gonna have to fly away, lose my miner's fatigue to be able to then be able to mine through this thing to be able to find him. Because I'm pretty sure I know where he is. He's like at the top part of this thing, but I can't swim to it. Or so I thought. Eventually, I finally found the path. And I quickly gave that thing the clap clap. And it was finally time to begin this massive project. Days 854 to 861. It took me forever just to be able to outline this ocean monument. Naturally, I was going to go with the giant circle shape again because honestly, circles in Minecraft just look the best. There's no way around it, and you can't change my mind. But it felt honestly impossible. There were so many guardians just relentlessly laser beaming me and just non-stop. I even had a couple close calls, but we managed to finally get the entire circle wrapped around this giant thing. And I mean, with, you know, minimal errors. I'm sure there's a couple spots that probably didn't line up properly. And after successfully getting that giant circle wrapped around this entire thing, now it's time to lay all the sand, and I do mean a lot of sand. If you've ever drained out an ocean monument, you know that this is the most longest, tedious, draining, and depressing part about doing this entire project. And honestly, just to save your guys' sanity, Jake, maybe we make a montage or something here for everybody showing me laying all the sand. And on day 879, after that long and tedious building process, I decided to get back to working on some advancements. And the first one on our list is actually Be Our Guest, which is actually another bee achievement, and I don't know how I missed this one earlier. Seemed pretty easy though. All I gotta do is put a bonfire underneath a beehive and then scoop the honey out of it. But I mean, that's not really how it went though. Actually, it took forever, because I don't know about you guys, but my bees, they like to just come out of the hive and then start sniffing some flowers and then going right back in the hive and do nothing. I even took all the shears out of the dispensers just in case that those were to go off and I wasn't able to get the honey. They just took so long. I was breeding the bees and I was standing there, and then I was breeding the bees and then I was standing there, and it took all day long. But I did manage to get the achievement in the end though. And the next advancement on the list is You Need a Breath Mint, or You Need a Mint. Either way, it's the one where I gotta scoop up the dragon's breath. So that means I gotta resummon the dragon, and for that I was gonna need some gas tears. So it's time to go into the nether and go gas slaying. I flew around slapping gas left, right, and center. Gas after gas after gas. And after getting all the tears that I was gonna need, I figured that I should probably dismantle the nether portal that I built to get the gas into the overworld for the other achievement. Because, well, I mean, I might need some obsidian later, and it's also big and ugly, but oh gosh, it took so long. But after that, it was time to resurrect the dragon. So I crafted up the end crystals and made my way over to the end portal. And then I jumped in. It's time. And you guys have seen me slay the dragon, like, you know, like a million times. So Jake, maybe we do like another little montage thing. I don't know. Wow, what an epic dragon fight, yeah? But now that that's over with, that's not the only achievement we're getting in the end. Because the next achievement that we're going for is actually Great View from up here, which is an achievement that you need shulkers to shoot the snot rockets on you, so then you float in the air like 50 meters. So I made my way into the outer ends to go try to find an end city. And I mean, that took a little bit longer than I thought, but the one that we did manage to find is one that I haven't looted yet. So it actually had an end ship, and of course I hopped right on that thing, grabbed the potions and clapped a shulker and got myself a free elytra. So now we have another backup elytra just in case if anything goes wrong with my main one. Now that that's out of the way, it's time to get this snot rocket achievement going. This achievement's not too difficult. It's mostly you just got to find the right pathing to bounce from shulker to shulker to get snot rocketed on one after the other, and oh my gosh, it just turns into a snot fest. But I did manage to get it though. And then afterwards I decided that I should probably dismantle this thing. Yeah, no, I want to dismantle the end city. It sounds kind of dumb, but I did want to build a new base on top of the end portal, and I wanted it to be end themed, and to be able to get end blocks, I figured the easiest way to just take it from the end city. So I spent a couple days just completely dismantling this thing, mining as many blocks as possible, which is easier said than done when you're fighting a bunch of shulkers and they're just constantly pushing you and knocking you into the air, and oh gosh, they're so annoying. But after a miserable mining experience, now look at the end city. Gone. Completely gone. No, I'm just kidding. It's right over here. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get every single block, like I said, you know, with the shulkers being annoying. You know, you start missing some blocks and you don't want to go back for them. But either way, this is a patchy, ugly mess. But it's time to go home, or so I thought. Because on my way home, I actually found my wither rose farm. And you know, I do need some more wither roses for the wither farm, so I figured that I could just AFK on top of this thing for the rest of the day, just watching tons and tons of endermen just funnel into a hole into their impending doom. By that I mean I just kind of sat on Twitter, and you guys should go follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you guys haven't already. But now that that's out of the way, it's day 887. We're back at home, but not for long though, because it's time to go back into the nether, because we're gonna fly all the way across the roof to go fast travel to a giant sand island that we've been shoveling away at, because we pretty much just shoveled up all the sand on the little islands near our house. So I mean, it's time to go back to this big beast that's been good to us. But I'm also coming to terms with the fact that this thing's slowly running out of sand finally. I've loved this island. It's helped me out so much. And you might be wondering why I want sand. Well, that's because it's time to go make a bunch of TNT and go TNT mining for ancient debris. So on day 888, I pretty much just crafted up all the TNT that I could. And luckily I did already have a big stock stockpile of gunpowder, which we went through pretty fast, and I actually needed some more, so I made my way over to the mob farm. And again, this thing is, yeah, no, it's starting to overflow. This is getting out of hand. This thing's too OP. But I did finish up with making all the TNT that I was going to need, which actually ended up being a little over 8 stacks of TNT, which is a whole lot. So on days 889 to 897, we're going ancient debris mining. So I flew into the nether all the way down to the hollows, is pretty much what we're calling it, where we've been TNT mining the entire world away. And I found myself a good spot where I mined a really long tunnel. And I was basically going to serpentine all the way back, mining tons of little tunnels all the way through, connecting, so I could be able to have all the TNT just set each other off. So after mining tons of little tunnels, it's time to place down all the TNT that I got. Serpentining back and forth, TNT. That is until a fire happened, and I have no idea how this fire happened. It just must have been lava or something dripping through the ceiling, but it scared the crap out of me because it set off all the TNT that I placed down already. So I quickly ran away, and luckily I'd made it out alive. But unfortunately, it revealed the fact that I was underneath a giant lava lake. So I guess it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, telling me to stop placing the TNT here. So I did my best to jump around trying to get all the ancient debris that I could, but unfortunately the lava was too strong. I tried patching up the holes, but there was just no way. They were just way too big. I was clearly directly underneath the lava lake. So I began doing the same mining pattern, just in a different area of the really long tunnel. And after mining tunnel after tunnel after tunnel, it was time to place down all them TNTs that I got. Place down every single block that I had, and I just let it rip. And this time it was much more forgiving. Luckily, there wasn't as much lava. So I ran around mining every single ancient debris that I could, which actually ended up being a little over 3 stacks of ancient debris. Oh man, I'm getting parched. And so now on day 898, we're back at home and I started smelting down all the ancient debris. Well, not for very long because I realized my pickaxe is getting a little low and I wanted to go heal all my tools. And I didn't want to risk ever breaking another netherite pickaxe. So I went back into the nether and I made my way up to the zombie piglin farm where I just AFK'd for a little bit to be able to make sure I get enough XP. But also I was going to need gold for all the netherite. So after a quick AFK session, I made my way back. And I crafted up all the gold nuggets into ingots, and I even grabbed all the gold that I currently already had in my storage room, and it still wasn't nowhere near enough. I already ran out of gold and I was still smelting down more ancient debris. So I figured the quickest and easiest way was to be able to go to a bastion, because if I could be able to find a fresh bastion, then I'd be able to get tons of gold out of it, and it'll be relatively quick because I'm really short on time. And luckily, not too far away, I did manage to find a fresh bastion that I haven't hit already. And it actually was housing, which is super easy to be able to get all the hidden gold out of. But on my way over to that hidden gold, I opened up a chest and actually got pig step out of it. And I couldn't remember if I already had pig step in this world, but it's definitely one of the dankest songs in this entire game. After that, of course, I robbed them blind of every single gold block they owned, and I made my way back. And finally on day 900, we're back at home and I'm finishing up with all the netherite scraps that are smelting and slowly just turning every single one into a netherite ingot and then a netherite block. And in the end, I managed to get 6 netherite blocks. This has been such a grueling journey to get all of these netherite blocks. The original goal was to be able to get it before 1,000 days. Now this is going to be a big challenge to be able to finish out this entire beacon by 1,000 days. But unfortunately, we're done with 900 days. Because the sun is now setting. And if you guys did enjoy this video and you guys want to see me get to 1,000 days, the next video is going to be pretty huge with all the projects that we just set up for. So make sure you guys subscribe and drop a like on this video if you guys do enjoy it. And also comment down below, #1000. Are we going to get to 1,000 days? We'll find out.